Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser.
And I'm Johnny B.
I'm James Workshop.
I'm also James, but there's no workshop here.
But together we are modeling for advantage.
Whoop, whoop. 25 people in the stream already. Saffron69 says, whoop, first here. That is a fact, mate. Rich John is here. Good to see the channel members. Charles Atora, not first here. Lol. New guy. Hello there, mate. Darren Martin, Pat Neal, Nick from Team Clueless Games. Gonna have to watch the catch up. You can still win the prize, Nick. Don't worry about it. You're in there somewhere, I think. Aaron Biggin, Josh Wood, Subs. Sweet. 5.1. Good job. Thank you, Subs. Yeah, we're going from strength to strength or something like that. Slowly creeping forwards. Tony Halton just flipping through Blacksite Studios. Don't look back. 80s slasher movie skirmish game. All right, today. Fun, interesting. RD Tabletop Studios. Good to see you. Friends of General Haig. Hello there, sir. Alid, evening. Congratulations on breaking the 5K. This evening, painting the German infantry Mrs. K sent me. Fantastic customer services via eBay and the MFA shop. Indeed, indeed. Thank you, Alid, for that. It's O Group you're working on, I think, isn't it, mate? We are going to have a look at that. Storm of Steel Wargaming and said he's going to teach me and he's going to convert me. First, hello from Hereford. Put together some British Airborne for bolt action. Excellent choice, mate. British in bolt action. I hate them. I truly hate them because of the free artillery bombardment. It's miss a go for the opponent every bloody game. Mr. Samuel, how's life going? Goes well. And Nils Cole, 10K, here we come. Woo! Well, we get about 200 subs a month, so that's several years away, it seems. So tell your wives and your daughters to look me up. Yes, I mean, your wargaming friends to subscribe to Modeling for Advantage. That was it. All right. Hobby-wise, for those of you that know, we are doing the Combined Arms Bolt Action campaign. I need some mechanized troops, so I am putting some finishing touches to the SD KFZ 250s. I've got the bitty little /9.5 track with the auto cannon, the sort of armored car version, and two of the standard. Actually, why am I showing you the interiors? I haven't really painted them. Look at that P-dot camouflage, mate. That'll do. That's all right. That'll do, pig. What about you, John?
I'm ignoring the fact that we're doing a bolt action campaign. And instead painting some 0200 SAS. 6 dudes. Boop, 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 boop. Sneaky, sneaky, sneak.
My 0200 downstairs. Ooh.
Indeed.
You did a mountain of plastic, James. What are you doing tonight? Just going to read the book?
A mountain of plastic. That's what I'm doing. A mountain of plastic.
Still on build.
Get there eventually.
And other James that is not James Workshop.
Yes, I have.
Got any models on the go?
I have. I've got some Oathmark. Wait, there we go. Oathmark
There
orcs,
it is.
metal ones.
Are
And
they from North Star? Or?
they are
Yeah.
some plastic ones. So I'm doing these for an article that we'll have in a future issue. So
Is that like a super duper preview? Because they're not out yet, are they?
I think he's shown them, but
Right.
they're not out. Yeah, Dan's good mates with Nick, so he just goes over there and blags stuff off, and that's the editor at Wargames Illustrated, and throws things on my desk and tells me to do stuff with them. So
Dodgy handshake and all that.
yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Well, normally we'd put you on the big screen now and I'll ask you where we can find you on YouTube and stuff. But that's not really the case, is it, sir? Can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I mean, you can find me on YouTube, but we've got a YouTube channel, we've got a website, but we've also got a magazine that's been running for a little bit of time, just a few years, which is called Wargames
Illustrated. That's the main one.
Yeah, so that's like our prestige product, if you like, which, it's been running for over 400 issues now. I started just before issue 400, so I've been there a couple of years now.
Wow.
Very nice. So your role at Wargames Illustrated is...
officially, I'm project manager, which I think if you summarize it, I do a bit of everything and try and organize things and make things happen. And when it all goes wrong, I go and speak to the boss and say, "Can you help?" And that's about it, really.
All right, James.
Sweet.
Before we get into it, then let's just go back and return again. Yorkshire Dragoon has joined us from Yorkshire, presumably. Who's that? Ribberfeld Hansen from Denmark. My son wasn't born in Denmark. He was born 9 months after a holiday to Odense. So you make of that what you will. Is he Danish? I'm not sure. A little bit at least. Hello from Arizona. Games offer had a couple of good bargains on their damage section. Bolt Action Starter and Blood Red Sky specific. Oh, interesting little tip there, Subs. Thank you. Dean from Swindon, mate. All the glamorous places. We're here in Luton, another quality English place. Luke Farrell, evening, beautiful people. The paper shop. He should be known as James Paper Shop. There you go. You got a nickname now.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Rosie is here. Brother Mythos, hello there, beautiful people. My Frost brother in arms. And nearly caught up. Duncan FX, hello there, my friend. Subs, Rosie, what are you crafting? For anyone that doesn't know, Rosie's got her own website. She does handcrafts. She made Aled some beautiful coasters with Welsh things on them. Sean Hadley from Newcastle. Jill Gorham. That's our Danish friend again. A big Mech Danskull. Right. Why there's so many people in the chat? For anyone that doesn't know, there is a prize draw tonight because we are here to hit the beach. As you can see, I've got a beautiful beach-ready body myself. Not so much abs as the whole keg, but, you know, I don't like to do anything by halves. But let's talk a little bit to our lovely guest. Hello there from Idaho. So, James, Paper Shop James.
Yes.
You are James. You project manage at Wargames Illustrated. I do. That means you organize things, like you said. So, I'm a librarian myself. I'm interested in print media. I'm not a subscriber. I have been in the past, been on and off. I usually look at the magazine in WH Smith, and if I'm being brutally honest, I'm often gauge which sprue's on the front of it and say to myself,
I mean, you're not alone in that. Yeah.
Definitely. It certainly gives a feel of enhanced. Those sprues are probably worth the cover price when they've got one on.
They're usually worth more than the cover price, actually. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the thinking. So what's your circulation? How many people buy the magazine?
We print about 15,000 a month.
Really?
But as with all print media, they get sent out, they get distributed, and some of them then get not purchased and then get pulped. So it varies. And as you say, if it's got a free frame, we're going to sell a lot more copies. Yeah. If we don't have a free frame, then that can vary depending on what other things we've got on the cover. It can even be as something as simple as like the cover artwork's got some nice color on it and it catches more people's eye. It's a very strange thing, you know?
Yeah. And do you find that there's any kind of seasonal variant? So you'll sell more copies to me in the summer because it tends to be a long train journey. If it's on the shelf in the newsagent, I'll pick one up.
Yeah, it can vary, but honestly, to try and find rhyme and reason in it is this mission that we're always on, and the people who do our distribution are always kind of getting in touch with us about that and saying, "Oh, this issue sold really well. We wonder if it's because it's got this shape on the cover or whatever." And it's like, yeah, trying to work that out is really tricky.
It's a bit of a dark art. Yeah.
It is.
And within that, to know what's so. I work in a school. I'm a librarian. We've actually got Ofsted in tomorrow, so I'm a little bit. My brain's a little bit frazzed at the moment. It's been a very mental day, just making sure all the rat traps have been emptied and all the kids look like they've been fed recently. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Both my parents were teachers. They're retired now, but they were primary school teachers, so I know the pain of Ofsted and all that kind of.
But then I had some questions from various leaders during the course of the day around statistics, right? So when we did this particular project around reading, what kind of impact did that have? And I'm like, right, I can't tell you how much. I can't really provide you with that kind of data because it's not sufficiently discrete or statistically significant.
Sure.
A particular project on a particular day, maybe we did push out another 50 books that day, but what other day do I compare that to?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I can tell you that when the sun starts shining for the beginning of term, that the kids suddenly go outside
Yes.
You know, those early bits, and then there's a big plummet. I don't remember what days they were last year.
Yeah.
You know, so which days do I compare it with? If it suddenly pours it down with rain, we get a great influx back inside. You know, there's so many other variables to try and account for within that. It's not that it didn't have an impact, but it's like, how do you work out those variables?
Yeah.
And is it a trial and error thing in the case of the magazines?
I mean, we obviously know what people like. Like we do themes every month. Most people like them. Some people wish there weren't themes because they'd like more variety, but we do reader surveys every year. And through that, we get a good idea of what the most popular parts of the magazine are. So we make sure we put a focus on those. But then occasionally we take a risk. Like we did a fantasy theme, I think it was about 12 months ago.
Right.
And that was very polarizing because obviously traditionally we're not called historical gaming magazine. We're called Wargames Illustrated. And that covers everything. And we've had fantasy and sci-fi in for a long time, but people seem to forget that. And as soon as we put a bit more focus on those genres, the grognards will get mad. But then the other maybe younger readers get quite excited. So it's just about trying things out, seeing what people are okay with, and seeing what works, you know?
Yeah, and like you say, there's all different types, aren't there? I think the most polarizing, I mean, you know, presumably you've talked about it, doing a 40k issue, right? And
so that's now so Games
it's
Workshop's
the biggest
an interesting
game,
one. But they don't, like, as a company, I love Games Workshop. I buy their products. I actually worked for Games Workshop back in the day.
Everybody did.
I was a freelance miniature painter, and my bread and butter was painting Games Workshop figures. So love Games Workshop, but at the same time, they don't really put anything back into the hobby beyond themselves. And we want to promote the companies. We want to promote the companies that do put stuff back into the wargaming community. We try and get more independence in, but we also, you know, we'll cover ones like Warlord, Wargames Atlantic, Army Painter, all those companies as well, because they make good products and you know, they do it in a tough market. So we try and focus on those rather than GW, but we are gonna do more GW stuff, but on our YouTube channel. Right. It's not going to be in the magazine, but myself and Callum, who's our painter, we both really love GW stuff, so we're going to do more painting of that, and we're going to take a bit more of our own time to do that to some extent, and try and bring that to the YouTube
and compete directly with World's Academy.
What was that? Sorry.
Go on, John.
I was going to say, will they not come and hunt you down for doing that?
I would hope not. I mean, they used to advertise in the magazine. Like, if you go back in time, there are adverts from Games Workshop in the magazine, and some of them are hysterical. Way back in the day, there's one that's like, Games Workshop kindly asks you to stop copying what we do because, you know, we'll send the lawyers out to get you. And that's a genuine kind of advert. I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically like, stop stealing our sci-fi worlds. And they're putting this as an advert in Wargames Illustrated. So,
wow.
Yeah,
that's when they had a sense of humor.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but Games Workshop is so polarizing, though, isn't it? It's particularly Warhammer 40k. It's like people love it and only play it, and people hate it.
Yes,
and there's you know, but I think what's often overlooked is there's a very solid middle ground of people who do it as well.
Sure.
You know, if you go for one of the biggest and most successful war games club, South London Wargames in Dulwich, I haven't been there in about 10 years, but I used to live that way. About a third of the games being played there were Warhammer when I went in, like when I was last there. And these are the people that run Salute. This is a massive war games club. So it's like, well, there's more to the hobby, isn't there? You know, it's all different parts.
For sure. And it's not just Games Workshop for sci-fi and fantasy either. There's so many other smaller companies, you know, like North Star do a lot of the stuff. I've got their Oathmark, but the Stargrave, the Frostgrave that they do, amazing models and really good plastics. And then, you got Wargames Atlantic, they're slightly more GW styled sci-fi stuff and things like that. But once you start kit bashing those things together, you can make some really excellent figures as well.
Yeah. Wargames Atlantic is one to keep an eye on. I think, like Victrix, their stuff just keeps getting better.
Victrix are great, but obviously purely historical. So
yeah. But they've come into the magazine. We're doing plastics. That's what we're gonna do. Multi-part plastic kits. My only problem as an older fella with poor eyesight is the smaller, because they're more true to scale.
Yeah.
I do struggle a bit with this assembly of things like pouches. I'd say what I just struggle with, because Wargames Atlantic made the miniatures, putting the gorgets on the Fell Gendarmes.
Yes,
for
for sure.
0
For
to 100.
0200, yeah. If you like those, Rubicon Models have just brought out some Vietnam figures. They are the most complex multi-part infantry I've ever built. They look gorgeous, but they are ridiculous. Like, there's some Viet Cong, and if they're kneeling down and have a pack on, they're about 13 parts.
For an infantryman.
Just for a single infantry figure, yeah.
Yeah. I keep banging on about it. No one's going to listen to me. But I honestly, as I get older, I want to do 54mm stuff, I think.
That's
because
helpful,
I can see
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if my house is big enough, and it's a whole other scenery set. Yeah. So we did say earlier. So what Wargames Illustrated, obviously, the print magazine is the premier product.
Yeah,
it's
for
the
sure.
thing that people are familiar with. It's been around for a long time. But there are other elements to what you do. So you've touched upon the YouTube. You want to just tell the guys a little bit what kind of content you deliver on that YouTube platform?
Yeah, so as you say, there's the magazine, which is the main thing, and our YouTube content, quite a lot of it tends to spin off from what we do in the magazine. So if we have a painting guide in the magazine for something that Callum's done, for example, he'll then film a video where he talks a bit more. We'll actually have video of him painting bits of it so people can see how he does his brush strokes and how he works it, because he's crazy technical, talented. Yeah, it's more this. I'm more like that, with a giant like dry brush or makeup brush or something to just get it done.
Makeup brush is a pro now, mate.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Makeup brush is a pro move.
Yeah, makeup brush, airbrush, bit of oil paint, done. But I'm digressing. So that's part of the YouTube channel. We'll add value to articles through that, but we'll also do unboxings. I did an unboxing of those Rubicon figures on our YouTube. I did 0200 hours and went through that. We'll sometimes do flip throughs. That could be of the latest magazine, but it's also sometimes of new rule sets that we get, particularly ones that kind of catch my attention. You know, I'm more likely to do a flip through of something that's a bit unusual or a bit different, maybe, or the biggies. You know, if we get like something like Silver Bayonet came through, Dan and I just chatted about that on stream for about 30 minutes or something.
The Silver Bayonet is the 172nd Korean War or Vietnam War.
No. Silver Bayonet's very different. Yeah, Fantasy Napoleonics from Joe McCullough. So similar to Stargrave and Frostgrave, but not quite.
Right.
So we did an in-house campaign with that between people in our office and some people from North Star, which we're finally finishing off now that we've all got over catching COVID off each other and stuff like that.
Oh, boo.
Spread the love, my friend.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not just touching myself, then I'm stuffing slips into a bolt action bag so we can do the draw.
Magical.
And there's a lot more of them than want to go in this bag.
But yeah, so we have the YouTube channel. It's been running a long time, but we're putting a lot more focus on it at the moment. Joe, who does all of our video editing and stuff, he's really good. He's gradually getting into wargaming. When he started, he was a bit confused by it all, but he's starting to learn, and he's actually played Silver Bayonet now, which is his first proper war game, which is always entertaining, seeing a new war gamer try and get to grips with things.
He came in as a tech nerd.
Yep.
And wow, that's cool. And then happy days.
We've explained wargaming to him in terms of video games, which he's familiar with. He can understand video game concepts, so we just try and translate them to wargaming things.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, we do that, and we've also got our Prime subscription service, which offers something different.
So your YouTube is open content. The thing I tend to watch, I tend not to watch the unboxings generally because we do so many product reviews here. If I'm interested in it, we've probably already reviewed it.
Yeah.
But I also try not to watch too much of other people's reviews so that I don't end up repeating what I've just heard. I try to be as fresh my own opinion. In fact, if you watch our Horus Heresy unboxing recently, you can see my opinion on the box changes as we go through, and I'm less and less. My original thoughts are that it's pretty good value, and as I go through, there's a lot of things that are less good about this.
Oh, those shoulder pads are 2-part. I'm losing interest already.
Yeah. I was really interested because we got a comment about that. a guy, that was one of the criticisms we had, is that why are these in 2 parts? And he said, oh, it's the injection molding process.
Yeah.
And that was my first thought. I said, except they've given us shoulder pads with knobbles on before.
But these
back
are
into
knobblier.
RTB01.
Yeah, but these
I mean,
are
this is
knobblier
not a new
knobbles,
shoulder design. You could do it in the 80s. I don't think injection molding's got worse.
Probably not. No.
What does that say? A proud WI Prime member. Well,
Good.
some of the content is going to be waiting on you then, because James is going to give us a look through the keyhole. So WI Prime is your premium subscription service. You take that alongside, and you offer different membership levels, right? You get the print magazine, you get the digital magazine, or you can get either of these and WI Prime.
You can. Before I say this, I'm going to switch on the plug that I plugged my laptop into because I've just noticed it's not actually getting any power. So I'll be back.
Right. Well, we won't do that just now then. I just say, hit the beach. Woo-hoo.
Hit the beach.
That's better.
Oh,
yeah.
Plastic Crack Gaming. How you doing, mate? It's good to hear from you. Yeah. So you're plugged in. So you're going to give us a little bit of a look at if people take out the WI Prime, because I might be wrong, but I don't think I've seen this before. That what you actually get, as it were. If I do that, no, it's not that one. It's that one. Then you can still see our heads as well. Look. At that.
So so right here, this is probably the main drawer of Prime, which is the Vault. The Vault has every single issue of Wargames Illustrated ever in it. So it's got a latest issue, and Prime subscribers get the latest issue roughly 10 days before it comes out on the shelves as well. So you can access every single issue. It's running a little slow because I'm on my Wi-Fi, which is pants. But you go in, you get all the editorial, the content, and you can just click and get the magazine.
And has it got like little flippy pages?
It will have if it ever loads. There we go. I'm on a laptop as well, so it's tiny.
Oh, look at that.
So you can do it that way, or you can click this little button down here to just download it as a PDF as well, which is handy. Because
do you send people a scratch and sniff card through the post so they can experience opening the new magazine, smell the photographic paper?
I was worried for a second there what you were going to say. To get the full smell experience of the Wargames Illustrated office. Yep.
A strong feature of our unboxings is we generally, out of habit, have to have a good sniff of the box.
Oh, for sure. I take a deep breath.
There's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. So now I've shifted to the Prime members area, which obviously shows the latest issues. But another thing that our members get is they get vouchers, discount vouchers off various places, and these refresh every month. So £5 off Gripping Beast, $5 off Noble Knight, $5 off North Star, $5 off Sarissa, and $5 off Wargames Atlantic. So that really adds up. If you buy a lot of figures, it costs $5.99 for a Prime membership. So you can actually get that back and then some just by using those.
North Star pretty much sell at retail price, right?
North Star definitely.
So that's probably the only discount I've ever seen, with the exception of a Christmas or Black Friday sale or something.
Sure.
They don't offer default discounts, do they?
No, I mean we know all the companies really, so we sort of talk to them nicely and they see some value in this, so we get that. And then you also get lots of other freebies. There's our how-to guides, which are how to make various different terrain bits. That's a regular in the magazine, and those are all compiled. There's some different rules. There's all of our in-house rules. Don't
get the free Great Escape Games PDFs. Buy them from my online store. Don't take them free from here.
Okay, we'll move away from that. So that's really the majority of it. But then there are also extra features, like every month there'll be a few editor's exploits, which is where Dan talks about what he's been doing, and it's a little bit of an insider look at what's going on in the Wargames Illustrated office. That might be about a game he's played, it might be about people he went to visit, or anything really. It could be he went to lunch with the Perrys in the pub or something weird like that. But and I write from the Vault, which is just a look back at issues from like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and that's every month, just to kind of inspire people to go into the back catalogue in the Vault and see what might be in there, because there's some really wonderful, weird stuff in the old issues of Wargames Illustrated.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the Games Workshop advert.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's a legit question from Richard McPherson. And I didn't find, so if, you know, it's not criticism, it's just feedback. I looked at Vault subscription, which is one of the reasons I got in touch with you, is that I was looking at them.
Yeah.
It isn't clear whether you're going to get the sprues if you take out certain subscription types.
Yeah, so there's been changes that we've had to make recently over the last year, really, to a lot of our subscription offerings. And honestly, it's to do with price of the world going up and postage, particularly, not just the price, but also the reliability. For a period of months, all of our overseas subscribers were just not getting issues when they should. So we've had to spend loads of time trying to look into redistribution, find new approaches there, which took a lot of time, but eventually we cancelled rest of the world subscriptions, and instead they can now be taken out through Khaki and Green in Australia and New Zealand, and Ironheart Artisans in America. If people take out those subscriptions, they will still get the free frames with their magazines. Unfortunately, at the moment for Europe, because obviously there's so many different countries, we haven't been able to find distributors in all the different countries. So our magazine subscriptions still go out to them, but without the free frames, because it's simply, we would lose money on every single subscription if we included the frames. UK subscribers do get the free frames. For Wargames Illustrated Prime, you do not get the frames, but I think there's a little confusion with that, because a while back it used to be that you could get the free frames if you went on the store and clicked a thing, but unfortunately not anymore. And that's just to do with the deal we have with Warlord and what's allowed and what's not. To distribute those frames.
WI Prime, then it's essentially a digital subscription plus.
It is for
now,
now,
back
yeah.
catalog, some extra features, and a voucher scheme, and it. Yeah, but if you want the sprue and the print magazine, that's a separate subscription system at the moment.
It is. If you're really smart though, you could join Prime, then use your voucher to buy Wargames Illustrated from someone like North Star.
For £1.
I probably shouldn't say that, but you know, just if you want to game the system, there you go. There's a way you could do it.
Yeah, that works. That's
yeah, the other thing is we're not just stopping there. Like Prime, we have a vision for it going ahead, and with 3D printing increasing, we see an opportunity there where if we can start offering digital models to our Prime subscribers, so that could be our giants in miniature figures, which are individual characters from different periods of history, but also regiments, special units, and things like that that will connect to articles in the magazine, pieces of terrain and stuff, so we can make it a much more homogenous kind of thing where everything's covered. And we'd really like to build that. It's just the more we put into Prime, the more it costs us to do it. So we need to get extra subscribers, and it's this weird balancing act. But
yeah, the French cavalry was centerfold, hot stuff. People are talking about being a child of the 80s and discovering a magazine by a disused railway line or in a hedge somewhere.
Oh, those are different kinds of magazines. Yeah.
Well, for some people, not for others.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, so WI have subscription for Canada. So WI Prime, the digical subscription we're talking about here, that's international. You can take that out from anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
So the print ones, you're going to need to find a local service.
Yeah, you can obviously buy the magazine from your local independent retailer, whoever that may be in Canada, and that's what we'd currently encourage. If there are any distributors in Canada listening who would like to run our subscription service, then please do get in touch, because we really want to get that set up. You know, we don't want to stop people having the magazine. It's obviously in our best interest that as many people as possible can get the magazine. But we were genuinely on our US subscriptions, we were losing over £1,000 a month on our subscriptions purely through postage. Like, it wasn't making us money, so we just had to sort that out.
Do you do the Barbarian model, or was that the other one, the other magazine?
That Thrud was all connected to White Dwarf and Games Workshop. Thrud was in one of the very first White Dwarfs I got, actually, as a comic strip.
Right. Right then. So you're a young man rather than a grizzled oldie, like
I don't know about
me.
that.
You know, boyish good looks and all that. So what was your journey into gaming? Yeah, let's have that conversation that you have with every potentially. We don't do this all the time because it's going to be the same conversation for most people. How did you get into the hobby?
So have you heard of a little game called Hero Quest?
Oh, right. It is the same story as everybody else.
So I got Hero Quest, I think it was for a birthday or Christmas, and was very excited. And then shortly after, my dad came back from the local newsagent and went, there's this magazine called White Dwarf. I've bought you a copy. And it was White Dwarf 129. It's the best White Dwarf there's ever been. It had an article on all the different marks of Space Marine armor. It had an article on orcs and like pain boys and stuff like that. It had loads of cool stuff. It had Bretonnians in it, so there's a slight historical connection there. Sculpted by the Perrys.
Vaguely.
Well, you know, Perry sculpted figures, showing their fingers because they're proving that they've not had them cut off. Which I think I was 8 or 9 at the time. That was hysterical to me. So, and that was it. I was addicted from that point on. And yeah, just slight dips for university and things like that. But even at university, I managed to cut my thumb open really badly doing a conversion of a zombie. So that was embarrassing, you know.
Let me just read my leather-bound Hero Quest book.
So yeah, John's really into old Hero. How much you pay for somebody to bind that Hero Quest original manuals for you, John?
I bought two. I bought myself one. I bought myself one, which is everything that was ever published in all the White Dwarfs, all of the expansions, and I got my brother one as well. And I'm sure it was like 200 quid.
Yeah,
something like that. Worth every penny, I tell you, even though they're bound.
So the guy that sold it to you, yeah?
Even though they're bound and some of the pages are all a bit mixed up. But mine are that, you know, well worth it.
You know, I would, if I could, I would go back and get all the Warhammer Quest stuff, but I think that would cost even more than Hero Quest.
It's pretty pricey at the moment.
Yeah, I love that game. That was arguably my favorite GW game. Maybe Blood Bowl. Who can say? It's one or the other.
Right. And what do you do these days for kicks?
Oh man, we're talking about hobby, right? Miniature based. Yeah. I still do Games Workshop stuff, but I've really gotten into historical stuff. I got a bit obsessed with Agincourt a year or so ago, and I'm gradually building up a massive amount of Agincourt figures, the French, but rather than
Perry.
Perry, and I might mix in a few other bits, but so far it's just building those plastic ranks of figures. And rather than have them all pristine, I want them properly bogged down in the mud. I mean, the story of what they went through at Agincourt is actually horrific, you know, basically suffocating in their armor, gradually getting bogged down. And as someone who likes to do weathering and grimy effects, that's kind of my wheelhouse. So I'm working on that.
But they're French though, right? So it's okay.
I mean, you could look at it that way, yes. That's true. But if I'm putting in a lot of effort, I mean, you know, I've got to support them really. If it's taken me years to put this together. Other than that, Vietnam is a conflict that fascinates me. So,
oh really?
Yeah, I studied photography at A level and got really into war photography, and then the films around Vietnam, and then that progressed to the history. So I'm quite interested in that. You know, it's the first conflict where there was really good media coverage that kind of swung the tide of public opinion on a war. So.
Yeah. How do you rate the Ken Burns documentary then?
Long.
Very long. I rate it long.
That's my in-depth review.
Long out of 10, I love it.
Yeah, I have the A-level history kids. They do the Cold War, and they also do the Stuarts and all the boring English Civil War stuff. Yeah, that's for you, General Haig. No. And I like to, you know, as someone who loves this history, when they're on a study period, I just walk over to the history kids, A-level history kids, and like throw a question at them, and then I encourage them to go away and watch the Ken Burns documentary.
Sure.
If you want to understand how the Vietnam War and how it played out and how the decision making happened and why it was such a disaster. Watch this. And it came back on the Monday. I told him on the Friday. It's like, it goes on forever, sir. Yes.
I mean, it was a pretty long conflict, really, as well. You can't do it in a minute or two, can you?
Yeah, several presidents. In fact,
yes, exactly. It was the end of many a president.
Yeah. So when other people tell you about, other shows have this like your favorite war movie or whatever, I honestly think everyone who's interested in military history and political wargaming should fight their way through that, because it is such a good illustration of how the decision making, they just get trapped in a cycle of it.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
really the story of Vietnam. It's like all the choices are shit here.
Yeah, there's no
what
win,
really. What do we do?
Yeah.
So we just prorogue it, right? We just keep going. In for a penny, in for a pound, and all those kind of things. But it is about 16 hours.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So between university and now, gaming wise, there's a period there. Did you dabble in the dark arts of D&D or LARPing?
No.
Get dressed up on the weekend?
No, I've never really gone beyond War and Quest for the role-playing thing. I did bring quite a lot of role-play elements into that. I kind of absconded to video games for a little while. My first job out of university.
We all did.
I actually did it for a professional job. I worked at PC Gamer magazine straight out of university. And then I moved to Warhammer Online, which was a disastrous video game MMORPG. Now mine wasn't the one that came out. The one that I was working on was the one that was being
didn't come out.
Designed in-house and totally never happened. We all got made redundant, but thankfully I then got taken on to work on the Games Workshop web team after that. So that was really when I was very much back into the Games Workshop thing. And yeah, hobby all the time from there. And as I say, I actually became a freelance miniature painter later on. So I was a pro painter officially.
Pro painted,
like an actual pro painter or eBay pro painted?
Well, eBay pro painting, but it's still pro. It's a different kind of pro. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Roxy the Riveter has joined us. Hey up there, lass. How are you doing? All right, I guess people are just like, come on, dickhead, do the draw. Should we do it? Should we do it?
Is the tale of my gaming history not good enough? Oh,
no, it's perfect, but we need to, sort the wheat from the chaff and get rid of some of these viewers if there's quite a few.
Yeah, the viewer count going to plummet in a minute. There's the bag. I think what I'm going to do, James, if that's all right, is I am going to, that one's good too. The American Civil War one, you're absolutely right. Let's move back onto the thing there. I think I'm going to pull 2 out, and I'm going to ask you, James, to decide whether it's left or right. Then we do the my left, your left. It's just to really long it out.
Yeah. Okay. Would I remove all the tension and say that the other one gets a Wargames Illustrated Prime subscription?
Oh,
hang on. I want that.
Yeah, I want that. Put my name in the. Oh, boo.
I want one of them. Right. So, to make sure they're folded, I'm going to check that they're actually. So, Mrs. Kaiser's like, I'm not doing this again. You use a comment picker next time you did.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to check that they've actually met the. So she printed out of them all and cut them out, but I haven't checked whether they've met the criteria. But they have. That one has.
Okay.
Like the comment they might not have said the right thing. All right. So that one hasn't.
Oh, well, you go.
They've left a comment, but they haven't actually said hit the beach.
Oh dear.
So
did they say WI Prime subscription? Because if they did that, it's going to be really spooky.
No, but in the comments, friends of General Haig, our friend Andy there, he has proudly said he is a WI Prime subscriber. Okay. Yeah, right. I have 2. There are 2 guardians, 2 doors. One of them always lies. Oh, no, that's a different game. All right. Which one do you want? You want number 1?
Okay.
Or number 2?
All right. Well, let's say
1. 2.
If we say number 1 is the one that gets the game, and then number 2 feels far more appropriate for the Wargames Illustrated Association. So that's they can drop a deuce, and they get the Prime subscription.
So number 1 for
the winner.
They hit the beach.
For hit the beach, which is a Flames of War starter set, which I'm sure you all know. There's like 11 tanks, 2 cannon, and about 150 blokes in there, and a V1 flying bomb, which is a sweet bit of terrain, rules everything. So the winner of Hit the Beach is ta-da! Spencer Monson. Spencer Monson says, found you guys after looking to get into bolt action and love your channel. Of course you do, mate. You found us. Of course you love it. Hit the beach. So you, sir, are the proud winner of this. I mean, I'm saying that you're going to have to now go onto the modelingforadvantage.co.uk website and contact us page and bang me an email with your name, address, mother's maiden name, wife's natural hair color, all that critical information that used to steal your ID, but also post it to you. All right, so that's that. Well done. Thank you.
The extra special surprise prize.
The extra special. Yeah, and this is probably worth more than that box as well. How much a year at WR Prime? Is it 50 quid?
Pretty similar. Yeah. So
this is for Gillian 80. And Gillian,
you didn't want a Gillian 80, but you've got yourself a new subscription.
That's a sweet prize, though. Thank you very much, James. So Gillian 80 says, "Here at the beach for more excellent SPQR content. Can't wait to see what your homebrew rules do with the game." Wow, there you go. So Gillian 80, get in touch through the website modelingforadvantage.co.uk. Give us your email address, and I will pass that on to James, and he will fix you up, I'm sure. All right, guys, that is that. So, sorry to the 250 people who did not win that prize. When we start thinking about future milestones, I might put up a little bit of a survey. It's great that James offered an extra prize. Would you prefer to see more prizes, bigger prizes? And one of the things I've been thinking about for the channel's growth, one of the things that's important is membership. Now, that does involve people parting with money. And I'd wondered about whether people would be motivated if we had membership milestones and we had some giveaways in association with that. It's just one of the many things that I'm thinking about. Who knows? One day we might even be able to do this for a living rather than like work at the coalface or whatever, but it's still a million years away. They're just things that I thought about. So thank you everyone for taking part. I'm sorry to all these people who couldn't win because we only had one prize. Mrs. Kaiser was cutting these up all day.
That is cruel.
And she's never going to do it again. Right. Now back to talking about Warhammer Quest.
Oh, yeah, please. Yeah.
So Warhammer Quest, that's not Advanced Hero Quest?
No, Advanced Hero Quest was a long time before Warhammer Quest. Warhammer Quest is a beautiful game with a lot of expandability, and if you're a fledgling games master or dungeon master, you can really have a lot of fun with it because it has extra books for lots of in-between dungeon adventures and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed crafting things for it.
Right. There's more of a role-playing element than just straight up Hero Quest or whatever.
If you want there to be, if you want there to be, the basic game is great because you just draw cards from a dungeon deck and build the dungeon as you go. You roll a dice each turn, and if you get a 1, a random event happens. It's very simple, but if you want to, you can create your own dungeons, make traps, bring the tests in with that. So it is kind of Dungeons and Dragons for beginners, I suppose, with lots of cool figures on the table.
D&D, they don't make them like that anymore.
They do not.
Quality goods from 1995, I think, something like that.
Yeah, that's probably about when it was. Curse City. Yeah, that's Warhammer Quest. Yeah. It's not what it used to be.
Yeah, that's just whack. That is just whack, mate.
Whack. So is this Silver Tower, or are you talking about something from before?
Oh, no, this is far before then. This is with some classic barbarian wielding twin weapons and screaming at the top of his voice on the cover kind of artwork, Not your new exploded Warhammer universe with shards of things all over the place.
Yeah, AOS nonsense.
Yeah. I quite like that too, but It's...
Don't tell them.
We should stop talking about Games Workshop and Warhammer though, or I'll get in trouble. I need to talk about historical things.
You don't have to.
We do it all here. Although we're pretty open about the fact that we're just not enjoying 9th edition at all. I've recorded a game with Gary Saffon 69. It is going to go up probably on Friday. And that may be the last game of 9th edition you see on the channel.
It's actually a long time since I've played Warhammer or 40k, so I couldn't possibly comment. I just buy the figures and they accumulate.
Yeah, and that's all they want from you, right?
Yeah, they've got me.
They got you. But we still, I say we. I keep speaking for you. I'm enjoying Kill Team, so I'm just going to focus on playing that.
Sure.
That's how I get my sci-fi hit. John, you still enjoying Kill Team?
No, mate. Well, yes, because I'm winning.
Yep.
I think I've won quite a bit this season. This version of Kill Team. So yes, until I start losing hard like I used to, I'm loving it. But that's only a matter of time.
Shards of Warpstone, that was RuneQuest RPG, where you have like 4 hit points on the arm and stuff, and you can be a duck wizard. That was awesome. That was truly awesome. Yeah. So if you now that you're doing 100 Years War, what's got you in? Out of all the things you could do, what made you pick that period in particular? The stuff that must come through the desk in WA. You see it all, right?
Yeah, it was nothing to do with that. It was just reading a few, for some reason. I think it was, I have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, and there was a book on Agincourt in there that I downloaded and read.
Like the Bernard Cornwell one? Or
no, an actual proper.
Oh, real one?
Yeah. And just the fact that, people are still, there's quite a lot of mystery about what actually happened. And I got really into the question of what ifs. There's a lot of what ifs you can apply to Agincourt that go back to even before they sailed across the channel. What if you hadn't been able to get all the money raised? What if? And there's just so much variety on the single battle that you could create. So it doesn't feel so stupid putting so much time and investment into a singular battle, really. Which quite often you see these incredible projects at game shows and stuff, and people have put years of their life into it, but it's just one battle. And how do you find the variety in that? And for me, that would just not be a very smart idea. But it's just one of those ongoing things. Whereas at the same time, I've just played 200 hours. I'm building up some small, like, skirmishy regimental kind of stuff as well. Never mind the Bill Hooks as well, which is a game that we actually sell. I
got a copy of that on the cover of one of your magazines, I think,
so
a couple of years ago.
That's written by Andy Callan, and it was incredibly popular for Wars of the Roses. But Dan, our editor, and Andy are currently finishing off a proper big, thick rulebook.
But it's actually set. Is it Baron's War though? Isn't it?
No, the original game is Wars of the Roses.
Is it?
But it's now expanding to all different kind of periods around, and it's going to be a big, luxurious rulebook with lots of new rules and lots of new army list options.
Luxurious.
Oh yeah.
Will it have 54mm miniatures for old men like me?
It will if you want to build them. Yep.
But is it a 5 model game?
No, it's actually about that. It's kind of mass skirmish, so you don't need too many, and you can actually, it's scale agnostic, so you could play it with like 6mm figures if you wanted to, and it'd still work.
Right, and by mass skirmish, you're talking like 60 figures aside kind of thing?
Yeah, between about 60 and 100. It's very much focused on bows and bills are your main sort of rank and file. 12 in a unit, maybe a few skirmishes and things like that around the edges. So yeah, it's easy to build up an army, and you can just buy a few Perry-plastic sets, and you're pretty much ready to go. Yeah.
I mean, those if Perry do a box for the period you want to play, you can get a lot of bodies on the table.
Yeah,
they work out at like 75 pence a figure or something.
They're very good value. Same with Wargames Atlantic if you want to use their stuff for anything. I mean, there tends to be Wargames Atlantic tend to have quite similar stuff to the Perrys. It seems like there's a bit of a that seems to work. Let's do the same. So a bit of one-upmanship seems to go on there sometimes.
Well, they're just following on in the steps. The steps are great. There are 10 less viewers than there were before the draw, by the way.
Shame on them. Shame on them.
Yeah. So skirmish games in general, I I don't know the industry in the round. You know, you kind of get tunnel visioned in this gig. You watch the people that you watch, you play the games that you play. Although I'm aware of other stuff going on around it, but it seems to me that scaling down the games is increasingly common. Are you seeing that at the kind of the level that you interact with the industry?
Yeah, for sure, and not just that that's happening, but that we do a readers awards every year, and it seems more and more that the games that are getting the most votes are either those mass skirmish or simply pure skirmish games. You know, it'll be things like Bill Hooks or like, you know, Baron's War and things like that. Silver Bayonet was very popular in the last time we did it as well.
This was a Reader's Wife edition you do once a
week.
week.
The Reader's Wives edition. Gamers' wives submit pictures of themselves rolling dice. And
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I want that copy. The skirmish games, yeah. And so I see two different things, and it's all about time. And actually, so the one is the time. I think more even than the money, because there are ways to get you know, if the game is designed for 28 mil, but it's going to cost money, you can play in 15 if you want to do it. There are ways around the money aspect of it, unless you're playing something proprietary like GW. But most people here are not going to be fussed about that. But that seems to be one of the areas in the smaller armies. It's the time to paint them, the time to build them, the time to paint them. You know, the collecting and the degree to which I feel when you paint a mass army, you don't get invested in it in the same way. In fact, you probably get the reverse. You get fed up of painting it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, whereas if you play a game like a Wily Games, 5 figures is your army.
Yeah.
These are often handcrafted, kit bashed, individually painted, carefully models. And even though you spent a lot less time painting them for the army, you're really invested in them to a much greater extent. It's more fun.
It suits different mentalities, right? Some people are going to really struggle to make a great looking skirmish force. Like, they won't have the patience to do justice to those individual figures. But once you get 1,000 figures on a tabletop that were all in matching liveries, they're going to look good regardless of the paint finish.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
So it works in different ways for different people.
My Callistra, the American Civil War, don't look at them models.
No.
Some of them's faces is on their shoulder, but as a rank, as a body of men with flags and flock, they look great.
Flags
with
and
my
flock.
eyesight from 3 feet away.
Basing is massive as well. Like, you just put some nice bases on your figures and you've won the war already. Really, it's
John, ditch that clear base gig you've been running for a few years.
Losing game. Well, it's already started, mate. It's already happening.
It's already started. So the other aspect with that skirmish game thing, though, which doesn't affect other people as much as it affects me, is the play time. So I again, if you look at a game like, you know, a game that I think never saw enough love because people are not investing in the IP, is Warcry. I actually think, James, you played a few games of Warcry with me. I think as a game system, it was brilliant. Really good. It had procedurally generated missions and deployment and twist cards, and it was all very simple. Draw 4 cards. One is this. One is this. One is this. You know, very different war bands. Each model was quite different, but you had a card with the stats on that looked exactly like the model. So you didn't have that problem that you sometimes get with skirmish games. And which one of them's got the smoke grenade? You know, if you're just using soldiers, it can be difficult with that.
Yeah.
Warcry is a really good game, but other thing about it, like Kill Team, like smaller games of ball action, is it's quick to play.
Yeah.
For me, between setup, play, put down, maximum 3 hours. That's like an hour and a half of play, maybe 2, and very little pre-game prep. For me, that's where I'm at, and that's the kind of game that I like from skirmish. And Mr. Workshop, what about you? Where do you fit in with that? How do you feel that's a significant factor?
I don't think it matters if it's a mass skirmish game or if it's a giant game or something. I just want to put 10 models on a table, roll the minimum number of dice, and do the most amount of damage I humanly can with that number of models.
Yeah.
So Steve, and the point.
The ease with which it is. We said before, if you play James at Warhammer, he's stick down 6 ogres or something.
Right. Yeah.
No, or 6 dragons if it's a bigger game. But that's the game he's looking to play.
Sure. Sure.
That's my game. They sprint towards the other side of the table. I roll 50 dice, and then I lose, and then we shake hands, and we had a great time.
Yeah. John, where do you fall on the? How important is speed of the game to you?
Now it's very much a key thing. Back in the day, it was second edition 40k. You'd spend 6 hours, 7 hours just pissing around,
just putting figures on the tabletop. Yeah, just deploying.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I've deployed, and I was all right with that back then. But now, I neither have the brain power nor the attention span to deal with that kind of thing. Yeah. So, yeah, quick and simple is good. And the whole painting thing, as you said, just getting 5 dudes of interesting character is a good thing. But as James said, Paper Shop James said, it's horses and courses, isn't it? Some people might be intimidated by that low model count and think they've got to do something really extra special. Some people don't give a crap load, right? And just throw plastic blobs on the table and move them around. I don't know. Horses, courses. The hobby should be what you want to make of it.
That's it. I think there is a lot of gatekeeping in the hobby in different ways from different kinds of people, and I'm not keen on that. We did a game relatively recently of the new epic Waterloo stuff, and we played with it just with bare blue and red plastic.
Yeah,
and some people loved it. They were like, "Oh wow, I can just take this out of the box and I've got my opposing slides." Other people despised it. I think they were spitting blood with disgust at what they saw as this sacrilege, and it meant that 2 of our mates could come to the office, play a game, tell us what they thought of it, and they had a really good time. And it didn't take a long time. It took longer to put the figures on the bases than it did to even play the damn game. It's
a Black Powder is a very simple
game.
Yeah. We talked about it though, didn't we, John? So maybe we could play this just on.
Well, that's the only sensible way we are going to do it in this century, millennium, whatever. If we pop them out, put them on the bases, and play the damn game, and not have to worry about the painting. Yes, it would be lovely if they were all painted, and wherever possible, we try and play and video painted models. That's our goal, because it helps us to keep motivated to keep painting. But some things, especially as you say, that epic Napoleonic stuff, but beautiful. But too big, too much for us.
It's a controversial topic, but we're gonna go there briefly. John, you got a quick question from Richard first. This SAS figure, are you able to show it him? He says, what period is it from, and which figure is it?
What figure?
Your SAS figures. You said you were doing.
Oh mate, yeah. These are from these are the 0200 new plastics from Wargames Atlantic. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're really nice.
They're really cool. Got some cool poses. A lot of them are stealthy, not that you'll be able to see it, and the bland palette does not help. But you get loads of cool stuff on there, and they'll be out soon from Grafe and our games and other retailers.
That's those. Because conversely, in terms of that, is the other increasingly important aspect to me of the game. It is the decoration. It's the battlefield that you're playing on. It is like I feel I try not to be a Nazi about it, right? And I play World War II Germans all the time. Try not to be a Nazi about it. But painted figures, nice scenery, all that kind of stuff. That, like, if you want to talk about immersion and being invested in it, that has become more important to me over time. What about you? What about you, John? Knickknacks?
Exactly the same. I mean, I think I've always been into, increasing the emotion by having that battlefield. I've kept going at it, and I've gone a little bit further now, to the point where I'll put little newspapers on the ground and stupid stuff, Salt Bay the board with pointless crap. And I love that. It just gets me into the game, and it makes me feel like I'm getting more out of this hobby. So that's me. Workshop. Do you care?
I'd love to say that, like a few years ago, I don't care. But the more I play with the Kaiser on the channel, you just turn up. There's a really lovely table, and you're like, yeah, okay, this is pretty great. I'm actually looking forward to this game now.
Yeah.
So my own scenery, when I play on my own, I have a collection of painted scenery, but it's quite small. So I end up playing with the same stuff relatively often. But then head over to the Kaiser's house, and he's got this beautiful setup, and you're like, okay, I'd like to play games today, please.
Yeah.
Just makes you feel better about it. I get you.
Yeah.
I get you.
And filming is actually pretty grueling, isn't it? You know, it's hard
It's
work
longer.
to keep that high
Yeah,
energy. We actually break between at least every second turn. We'll go and have a drink of water and a chat and a fan, which is sometimes why the transition from turn 2 to 3 might seem really weird. It's like we've been gone for 3/4 of an hour to recover our energy.
Forgotten what happened. Just like, where were we?
Skip the psychic phase or whatever.
Yeah.
WI James, what about where are you then on this skirmish thing? Time, battlefield, terrain. How much does that matter to you?
It's very hard for me to answer this question with any I don't exist in a real situation because the Wargames Illustrated office, the whole downstairs is just full of terrain and box upon box of armies from different periods. And Dan essentially leverages his position as the editor and owner of Wargames Illustrated to get more and more figures painted, to build that collection up. You know, that's really what it's about.
Right. Yeah.
So trying to be realistic. I used to be an incredibly slow painter, and I hated everything about that. And I hated trying to get an army ready to game with. Then I got fast at painting, and I loved it. And I was like, yes, I can do all the things I wanted to do. But then life got in the way, and it's like, just game whatever you want to game, do it how you want to do it. But if you can, then go for it and build some nice terrain and stuff. But also, there's so many rule sets out now. There are so many more rule sets every month than there used to be. And there are some amazing, more obscure games that you're never even going to get to experience them if you obsess over getting an army finished before you start playing it.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, as we mentioned it a few times, if you want to watch two idiots failing miserably to play 0-200, John and I streamed ourselves trying to play. We got almost everything wrong.
What an experiment that was. Yeah,
it's a complicated game. I think it's going to take a while for people to get used to it. I was lucky enough that Graham played a game with me, which probably helped a little bit, you know, because he designed the bloody thing. But...
Yeah, I think it was interesting because Graham sent me an email. I was like, that was great to watch and to see people just trying, you know, with no prior knowledge.
Yeah.
And he said he's going to make videos on how you play the game, because it kind of what it maybe doesn't have is it doesn't have the take you through round 1, take you through round 2 thing that you often don't need. But because of the way it works, we weren't sure what we should be doing with our models, because you don't just move 6 inches.
No, it's incredibly, it's so unconventional, and I think that's definitely you have to completely forget about what you know before and just play this game as something new. And once you're comfortable with that, it took me a few turns to get used to it, by which time I was a little bit on the back foot. But once you're into it, it's really interesting.
But what we were missing was if you're a Nazi and nobody's detected, you're doing a roving patrol.
That's vital.
Roll these 2 dice. Yeah. And if you don't know that, you're looking at all of the options trying to work out which ones you might do. Just those kind of really point 1, step 1, do this. Was the stuff we're missing. But Graham has said he's willing to come on if we do it again and tell us how to do it right. So I think we'll give that a go, right, John?
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, let's get these bad boys. Let's get these bad boys finished so we can. We can get in there.
Where did we get to with the hobbying? I had a picture to share with you. I forgot. If you ever wondered about veganism and is it suitable for young children, all I can say is that is a genuine product for vegans.
Delicious.
Beyond sausage.
They're very
damn
nice
right it
as well.
is, mate.
They're really good.
I mean,
what is that?
Are you sure you didn't just go into the supermarket, cut a hole in a packet, and I can't quite tell from here, but
you and 3 friends have just popped this sausage in a case.
This is why you should not force your children to be vegans. That should not be fed to a child.
That is well beyond sausage, mate. Well beyond.
That's well beyond. You should write in Sharpie in red. Well beyond sausage. This is a genuine product. Probably best displayed laid flat. The more time you spend looking at it, the better it gets. That's all I can say to that. All right,
they're tasty though. Roxy the Riveter says they're bleeding tasty, mate.
Well, there you go. I didn't think that was your gig, Roxy. I wasn't sure. Right, hobby wise, this is where I got. Look at a dry brush in there. That is pro dry brush.
Has that bought it out? Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. It's pucker. Look at it.
Beautiful. It's
And
like
then,
you stole it from.
Yeah, and if you build one of these, the gun assembly for the 2 centimeter is a nightmare. So I didn't do it. I just glued it to the turret. I don't have the actual mounting for the weapon inside. John, where did you get to with your hobby?
Oh, Jesus. I've almost finished doing all the base coats now. This is just one of them. I've just got flesh to do on 3 others, and then I can start doing some detailing. Woo, 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 woo.
James? Whoa!
Hey, look at that. All of the little things.
All of the
on
things.
The bases.
And WI James, hobby.
So bear in mind, this is my first time doing this. I have scraped some flash off the underside of this base so that he will now stand up straight. So,
mate, that's a legit win right there.
Yeah.
Normally at this stage, James, I would say to the guests, tell them where they can find you and so forth. Now, you being the project manager of WI, so you are from Wargames Illustrated. If you don't know that, go back to the beginning and watch it takes you through their digital and their print offer. It's a fantastic periodical. You're going on holiday, stuck with the kids in a tent or whatever, have a read. It's a great publication. Do you Instagram your painting and stuff like that?
Yeah, we've got an Instagram account, we've got a Facebook account, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. Our website is WargamesIllustrated.net rather than .com, so make sure you get that one right. But yeah, we're all over the place.
All right, but I meant you personally. You mentioned commission painting and stuff? I
don't, because I like to just do my hobby for me, and it was horrible when I was doing my hobby and always feeling I had to social media it, so now it's just all about what I want to do. So I don't. I share pictures of my cat on my Instagram, but you know.
Yeah, well, Roxy might be interested in that, but most of us have seen a lot of cats. All right. So on Saturday, for those that are interested in Flames of War, we've got a live stream with Harry's going to be there. Wooly Mike, we will be talking about Flames of War and Team Yankee, but most of Flames of War, what we know about what's the release schedule for the second half of the year. We know a little bit about the more mid-war stuff to come. James will be interested in some Stalingrad box sets are coming out, which would be nice. But there's a little bit of stuff they'd said at Christmas, which we're hoping to see as well. And John and I are hoping to get in some more games over the next few days. But I think the Ofsted inspection that's happening over the next 2 days at my school might ruin our gaming tomorrow night, John. We'll have to see.
Mate. No,
how that plays out.
Comes first.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any final remarks from you, John?
Don't poop in the sink.
Sweet, James.
Just what John said. That sounds good.
I mean, yeah, you can't argue with that. WI James.
Thank you for having me and for giving me that important life advice. I wish I'd known it a few years ago.
Life hacks with Johnny B. Yeah. All right. And for me, as you know, don't feed this to children. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.